Blended learning is a methodology that uses ICT to combine synchronous and asynchronous encounters, allowing a mixed process between face-to-face and remote learning, promoting self-directed learning, giving students more freedom in their process. A characteristic feature of this methodology is its long history through 5 generations, which have evolved with technological advances.
The first approach to a remote learning model was designed by Caleb Phillips, better known as the professor of the new shorthand method, putting an advertisement in the Boston Gazette on March 1728. He proposed to send weekly study material by mail related to his art. This material would be at the same level as the people who were learning face-to-face in Boston. Later, in England, in 1884, the first remote education model was developed by Isaac Pitman, creator of the shorthand system that bears his last name. Pitman took advantage of the appearance of the English railway system, which streamlined communication and mailing. His method was to send text written in shorthand, and his students had to resend the transcribed document to receive corrections from the tutor.
Then, in the 60s and 70s, arose what is known as technological-based training, an important tool that is achieved thanks to the technological advances of the time. This teaching method produced several benefits by allowing instructors to teach larger groups through mainframes, video computers, and CDs, later transforming into the first generation of web-based training, virtual classroom, and e-learning in 1998. Giving the students the possibility of carrying out control in his learning process without previous instruction. Later, in the end of 20th century and the beginning of the 2000s, marked a before and after in accessing the information stored on the internet, in a faster and more efficient way with the creation of advanced search engines. New social media platforms get to light as an instant messaging option that allow users to interact with multimedia content.
The first part of the 2000s could be called the first attempts, since the term had different meanings or it didn't have a correct use according to the current standards. It was Graham who in 2019 defined it as the integration of face-to-face learning and e-learning. Over time and the technological improvements, the e-learning began to be introduced as a teaching method that would make part of daily life, something that would change the way education is perceived. Therefore, Peter Hinson proposed the concept of new normal and defines it as a phase of digitalization of society, where technologies won't be framed as technology but rather part of everyday life.
In conclusion, the concept of a new normality mentioned by Hinson takes a new meaning contextualizing the panorama of the year 2020, where the normality changed because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the e-learning became a relevant alternative to consider in order to safeguard the integrity of people and allow them to continue their studies.